A lot has changed in the last couple of years.
A lot has changed. It's been a journey. Really, really has.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much about myself, like learning how to handle my emotions and my thoughts and just I don't know, really knowing myself and knowing what I want and how sometimes what gets in the way of what I want, which is, for everybody, I feel like it's kind of themselves. I feel like I got back to music as a form of, in a lot of these songs, as a form of healing and as a form of therapy and connecting with myself. And I realize I'm actually healthiest mentally and emotionally when I'm writing.
Of course, that's how you release it. That's how you express yourself.
I know. I feel like when I'm not writing for a really long time, music is literally the way that I feel the most connected to myself.
What's the one thing that's going to strain you the most in your occupation? What's the one thing that stresses you out the most?
I think for me, which is something that I'm really, really working on, and I've been really outspoken about anxiety and whatever. I think it's that, and I feel like I've realized, especially in the last couple months, I've taken a big journey in realizing that that's totally, the brain can change, and you can really work to improve that. And I feel like I'm really working on changing that, and I see a huge difference, which is actually something that I want to be more outspoken about, because I know a lot of my fans struggle with issues like that. But I think training of the mind is the most important thing, because that's what you have for the rest of your life, And I think that music for me is instrumental in kind of not going there and staying in my feelings. I use music selfishly. If I made an album that was I felt the most me album ever, everything about it captured the essence of me, more than any other album that I'd done in the past, and it was the least successful, I would still be happy. The reward for me is in listening back to that and being oh my God, I remember that. And
do you get emotional listening to your own music? Personally and privately?
I do.
Yeah.
I totally do. There was a time in my album where I wanted to keep writing, because I took a long time writing this album, and there were I remember listening back after the first heartache and just being okay, this chapter needs to close, because I can't keep listening to these songs. I think that quote that's it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. It ending doesn't take away from the importance and the sweetness, and to me, falling in love feels life-changing.
Oh, it is.
And that's why I'm this album was so important to me, because I think I've always just believed that. I think something that I have realized from falling in love is that, ironically, the most important relationship that you have is the one with yourself.
Well, that's what you take away from the heartbreak. That's what you take away, is the learning for yourself.
Totally. And I think that for a hopeless romantic, that's a pretty mind-boggling thing to learn, is that I'm actually the one that I'm going to have my whole life, And in order for me to be good to this person, I actually have to understand myself better.
Do you have that thing where you absorb traits and laughs and
do.
tics from your partners?
I so do.